Yo, yo, yo! Welcome back to the MMA Short Show. As always, your boy, Stephen Moustaris. And, after watching the Joaquin Buckley, Colby Covington fight, it's pretty evident for most of us that we know, man, Colby Covington's on the downward spiral of his career. I mean, I don't know if this guy has anything left. And, it's easy to sit here and pick him apart for his performance and everything. But when we actually look back at his accomplishments and what he's actually done in his career, it's the questions out there, man. Was Colby Covington ever good? I'm not trying to kick the man while he's down or anything. But, when it comes to MMA, one of the coolest things about it is just seeing the different, trajectories of different fighters. And, like we just saw with Shavkat and Ian Gary just this past week, we can count on our one hand how many times we've witnessed, two prospects, that haven't even fought for a title yet, and two undefeated prospects with that would have to fight each other so early in their career. And, we've seen it before. Max Holloway, has gotten the short straw of it when he's had to fight Conor McGregor and Dustin Poirier within his first few fights in the UFC. We see it all the time. And I mean, even when it comes to title shots, you see it. It's the difference. It's never the same route. I mean, you got guys like Merab, Bilal, Tony Ferguson, all these guys you can name, man. They went on how many win streaks did they go on? It was 12 fight win streaks that they never got a title shot or finally got a title shot to win that many. But then you got like a guy like Kaya Sakura who just comes in and gets a title shot in his first fight in the UFC. Like, it doesn't make sense, but statistically, for all them guys that, like I just mentioned, like Max and Shavkat and Ian Gary and all these guys that had to fight, up-and-comers and killers in their career, you're going to have the guys who kind of get away with the easier scraps, the easier fights, the easier paths to the title shot. And I truly feel like Colby Covington falls into this. I mean, when we look at the guy, I mean, don't get me wrong, he won a bunch of fights. You can't deny his cardio. You can't deny his grappling. But when we look at his victories, man, he's got a win over Max Griffin, Brian Barberina, Dong Hyun Kim, Damian Maia, RDA, Robbie Lawler, Tyron Woodley, and Jorge Masvidal. Like, every single one of those guys that we mentioned, man, Jorge Masvidal, we love the guy, but he's got one of the saltiest records out there. This man has lost, 15, 16 times in his career? It's probably more than that. And at that time, he's getting older. He just got grappled to death. You same with Tyron Woodley. How many title shots did he already lose in a row? How many fights did he already lose in a row? This man was a shell of himself. Goes out there and gets knocked out by Jake Paul, but he pops a rib. Like, it was a terrible fight if you watch it. RDA, Robbie Lawler, both of the guys were damn near on their deathbeds. Like, you would Dong Hyun Kim, that was impressive. Like Brian Barberina, and to make it worse, he just grinded out decisions on these guys. Like, the only finish that he has is Max Griffin. And I mean, I'm not trying to be mean to Max Griffin, but we've watched him get beat so many times. And then when he actually finally gets to that title contention, or actually fighting the top five, or fighting some good guys, the man goes out there and loses to Kamaru Usman twice. And I mean, say what you will about the Usman fight, it was an impressive fight and performance, but the styles for Colby Covington were perfect. He didn't have to deal with anybody who was better at striking than him, even though he got outstruck by Usman. He didn't have to worry about the grappling. Like, it was kind of an easier fight. And then when he takes on Leon Edwards, he gets absolutely blasted through, and he could use the broken foot thing. But then what happens with the Joaquin Buckley? When you actually get a guy who's athletic, who's got a little bit of, explosiveness that can kind of buck your takedowns and then kind of push off and then be able to just throw all day. When's the last time he had to fight anybody who was dangerous like that? Like, even Leon Edwards wasn't that explosive. Like, he hasn't got to fight anybody. He's only beat up old guys like Damian Maia. Like, I'm not trying to hate on the man. I just think there's a clear path here that we could truly say he just got the luckiest straw of all and got his way to a title shot and ran his mouth and, did enough to kind of get everybody to talk about him. But what has the man done for you in this career? I mean, I would take Joaquin Buckley, going up and, have to fight Kevin Holland coming up, fight Nasruddin Imavov coming up, losing to guys like Chris Curtis and stuff. Like, I think most of these guys, if good old, Colby Covington had to fight them at the time, he might look just as bad now. And I don't know if he would have had a different trajectory at all, which you can't blame him. It's not his fault. But if he would have had any different route, he might not even have gotten there, man. His striking is so terrible. I know he's got a cardio king and everything, but when you got guys like Robbie Lawler and, good old RDA and all these guys who are way past their prime and Tyron Woodley, the guys that aren't even willing to throw with you, and once you get them so gassed, like, they're already dead out there. They look like dead fish. Like, I don't know, man. I think there's a strong argument, like I've said. So you guys let me know clearly what you guys think. But I mean, it's no secret. I think Colby Covington, if he fights again, I think it's going to be ugly, man. He's already getting older, 36, 37 years old at 170 with that many miles on his knees and everything from wrestling. Like, we haven't seen a good performance out of this man in a while. So you guys let me know what you think. As always, your boy, Stephen Moustaris. Let's go, baby. Let's go.